I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Taking a long rest, and I have a thing I can do on this long rest. What was I supposed to roll to make potions?
Don't do anything right now, because we're still on break.
Okay.
Okay, now we're not on break anymore. Is everybody back?
I'm still sandwiching, but
I'm also sandwiching.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you guys can sandwich and listen at the same time. Yes, so you have the materials to make potions with. How much did I give you for how many potions?
It's like 5. I want to say it was 5 or so. Or was it 2? It seems like an important distinction.
I don't remember. I just remember the time gated. Like, they were going to grow back after much time.
Because he gave you a gift of X amount, and then he said, don't take so much that they won't grow back from the gardens.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like he gave us enough for 2.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh, yeah, you know what? You're right. I have it in my notes right here. I will let you make, if you've got an herbalism kit, that would be the best roll to make.
Yeah, I do.
Intelligence plus herbalism. So do that.
Not gonna let me do wisdom plus herbalism?
Intelligence, not wisdom. Be smarter.
That's 18?
18. And so working probably up in the kitchen would be best equipped in this tower. Working with it, and you find these particular herbs very easy to work with, almost like you just intuitively know what to do with them. And so working for a couple hours, you managed to brew 2 superior healing potions. 2 of the really good ones.
Alright. Does anyone feel the need to have those on them? Ciclon, you've been running around healing. Do you want one of these potions?
certainly, I'll take one.
Alright.
Brick.
Yeah.
Do I need to make a roll to get rid of my level of exhaustion after rest, or does that just
No,
go
that
away?
just goes away. No, anytime you do a long rest, you lose all your exhaustion.
Okay.
Oh, it was
And,
just one level.
Well, she only had 1 level.
Yeah, not that it would matter in this case. I thought it was 1 level of exhaustion.
I doubt it'll come up for role-playing purposes, but I just want to remind everyone that it's been a night and I spent my last slot, so everyone has 2 good berries again.
Yeah.
So after you're all rested up, the ship does come back into view, and Ariella and Banyan, I'm sorry, not Ariella, Maddox and Banyan are very sympathetic to Zilvir's plight, having to dive into this water and swim for some distance, because you learn that on the way here, she blacked out in the water, and the Zoveri had to fish her out and bring her to the docks. Ariella, notably, is not at all sympathetic to Zilvir's plight.
I'll carry Sylvia through the water as best as I can. I'm probably able to swim her there better than she is.
Well, absolutely, because, she's not very strong, and she doesn't know how to swim, and it burns her.
Time out.
Time
how
out.
much does this superior healing potion do again? Heal again?
Oh, you know what? Oh, I don't have my DMG handy. I'd have to look it up. I think it's 2d8.
I'll look it up.
I think it's
DMG.
2d8. So,
I'll look it up. We can continue while I'm looking that up.
the way it works is the boat comes into distance and flashes its light a few times, and Ariella uses her light cantrip to signal back. And then if everybody's ready to swim out. So,
Is it still raining?
very lightly.
Okay.
And Riot asks, is that the ship? Should we swim over? Who goes first? And
Well, that's what I'm waiting to confirm. I'm assuming Mahogany's going to turn into something preposterous and carry some people over.
I am going to transform into a giant octopus,
Okay.
and I am going to hold as many limbs out of the water as need be to carry the people who get wet.
I'll let you make a strength check, DC 20, at disadvantage to carry all 3 of the chaotics safely to the ship. Because that's a lot of weight.
What if Riot doesn't go? What if she just swims?
Then I'll lower his DC because he's still carrying 2 people.
Oh, okay.
Can I just do it one at a time?
You could. It would just take a lot longer.
I mean, I swim really quickly, though. That's
Yeah, the ship's pretty far away, though. We're talking several hundred yards. It's a long journey.
Right, but everyone has to swim there, and I swim at least twice as fast as they do.
Okay. So, yeah, if you're taking one at a time, I'm just going to call it DC 12 at just a regular roll. No advantage.
Okay,
And you're taking
4
Sylvia
plus 8
first?
is the superior.
Yeah. And she gets put there fine.
Okay.
And while he's taking Githzerai, I asked, Ariella, should I swim? Should I go over the octopus? What do you want me to do?
Ariella leaves the decision up to you. She says what you ought to do is repent your chaotic ways so the water no longer harms you. And she says this with a hint of condescension.
Yeah,
Right,
actually...
but until then, right now, what should I do? I mean, you're the boss here, right?
And she's instructed you, repent. She says, this is something I can aid you with. And as she does, who is her deity? I need to remind myself.
Just a heads up that superior healing is 8d plus 8.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty good. They're pretty good potions.
Yeah.
Let me...
I actually swim 4 times as fast as them do. I have a 60 feet swimming speed.
Oh, I didn't pick a deity for her. It doesn't matter. She gets out her deity's holy symbol, and she says, if you're ready to repent and cleanse those parts of your deeds and your actions that are unclean, then you are wiser than my friend. And she holds her holy symbol and is ready to receive your repentance.
And I say, you know what? I'm feeling pretty repentant. Dive into the water.
Dive into the water. All right.
Douche.
Make me 3 Constitution saves. Keep the results to yourself for now.
Bless
She
you.
was going to swim with her, being that she's a pretty strong swimmer.
Okay.
Her god is douchebag. You are the god of paladins.
So, Mahogany, make me a second strength check to carry Kelian.
Alright. Go ahead. I'll dunk him a few times by accident if I fail. I succeeded manfully, though.
Okay, so you got Kelian there safely. Kelian and Zilvir arrive having been carried. Zilvir finds the whole process incredibly humiliating. She's mortified that she has to ride this octopus to the boat. How does Kelian feel about it?
Kelian is glad he did not have to go into the water. He is not above this.
This isn't Killian's first time.
It's true, he has been grappled by Mahogany the octopus bar.
Everybody else arrives exhausted but intact. It's level of exhaustion swimming through these churning waters. And probably everybody but Serenity, you feel at some point during the swim, you feel a moment where your strength is about to fade, and you're thinking, I can't make it, these waves. But you find some last reserve of strength and push forward. Like the plane is helping you to your destination. So everybody except for Kelian and Mahogany arrive with a level of exhaustion. And everybody's at the deck of the ship, and nobody's seen hide nor hair of Riot since she dove in the water. Riot, what was that first saving throw?
Oh, it was a 10.
It was a 10. What was the second?
It's a 9.
It's a 9. What was the third?
Another 9.
How long do you guys wait on the ship for Riot to emerge?
I'm gonna go looking for Riot after I bring Kelian there. And
I think
Riot
Serenity said that she was going to be swimming alongside her.
Yeah, that was my plan.
Swim alongside her? Okay.
Yeah.
Serenity. Give me 1 second here. Make me a perception check at disadvantage.
I'll take the 19 then. So that'll be a 20.
After about a minute in the water, I mean, you see Riot defiantly cutting her way through this water, but after a minute, she stops moving and begins sinking into the depths.
Can I swim after her and pull her up? Kind of swim with her on my back if possible?
Make me an athletics check.
Nice.
26.
26. You manage to get your arms up under her and kick forward with your feet. And as soon as you grapple onto Riot and are swimming along with her, that feeling of the plane helping you move forward, of the waters aiding in your finding these inner reserves of strength to aid your swim, vanishes completely. Now it feels like you're swimming against the current.
Okay.
By the time Riot and Serenity reach the boat, an hour has gone by. An hour of hard swimming. Serenity, you arrive with 2 levels of exhaustion. Riot, you arrive at 0 hit points with 2 levels of exhaustion.
Stable?
Stable, yes.
Okay.
And I mean, Riot emerges from the water half drowned. You have to pump the water out of her chest. Serenity is just winded, her muscles burning. The good news is that the good captain of the ship, we can close. Let me close some windows here. I can close that one. I can close
The
this
lawful
one.
captain of the ship.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, he's super lawful good, incredibly hospitable. You all are lavished upon as far as provisions go. You're provided. You're left with no want of food or drink. You're all given. Riot is given an individual cabin to convalesce in, and one of the medics on the ship, she has his undivided attention during the journey back. The rest of you are given soft feather beds in a large quarters. Not feather beds, I'm sorry, feather mattresses on the floor for the crew members. And the crew members give up their mattresses so that you may sleep in them for the journey back. I almost regret asking this, but does anybody want to do anything on the ship?
Serenity will just take a... She doesn't need a feather tree. She'll take a... or whatever the crew are going to sleep in. She doesn't need to take someone else's bed.
Okay, and you actually have to... I'm going to make you roll a persuasion check on that.
Okay.
Because they're being very insistent.
I'll say to Serenity, Serenity, it's making them happy.
It's a 9.
9, and you're unable to convince this guy. He is absolutely insistent. Absolutely not. Wouldn't hear of it. I watched the journey from... I watched you swim the waters all the way from the tower. That's a mile or more. And you're a woman besides. What kind of gentleman would I be?
Also, you know, Kelian didn't... He could give up his bed.
No, absolutely not.
It is technically charity. Serenity will pass out in the bed. In that case, she is pretty exhausted.
Okay, so everybody gets the benefit of another long rest
tired to
on the
argue.
boat. On the boat. On the journey back.
The boast.
Osos and Riot, after Riot comes to, you guys are practically begged by the crew for music, song, and story.
Yeah, I'll play.
And they don't like Riot's music very much.
It's an acquired
Unless
talent.
she steps out of her wheelhouse and tries to play something that lawful good sailors would appreciate.
It really depends on if Ariella's in the audience.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Ariella
then,
seems...
They're not gonna like my music at all.
Not at all. She seems very relaxed and relieved, and also very grateful. More grateful than she lets on, actually. The other members of the Thula party, especially Banyan, are insistent that they would not have been able to pull it off without your all's aid. And with that, after the journey, you all arrive in Heart's Faith. So I did not prepare my Immiger today, because I am the best person in the world.
Oh, hey, good job, Burkroad. Believe in you.
Fingers crossed that it's going to work, because sometimes Immiger doesn't work.
I have faith in you.
So we're going to take a minute, and I'm just going to describe... In fact, you know what? Let's clean slate. There. We'll just get a
It
nice,
looks just like Sigil.
nice clean table to start with.
Oh, can I have drawn capability? No,
think everybody already. You should already have it.
It was white for a second, and I was like, "Oh man, Ultra Heart's Faith."
So this is a really low res map, but unfortunately, it's the best one that I could find. The only one on the internet I could find. I get it. Heart's Faith, as you guys sailing on the Silvery Sea, it rains much of the journey, but a very pleasant rain. You're not sailing through a storm. And the rain doesn't burn you chaotic types. The foam of the sea splashing up would if you stand next to the deck. The first layer of Mount Celestia is a place of eternal night. It's always nighttime, which is kind of paradoxical because looking up, you see in the sky an illumination brighter than any sun you've ever seen on any plane you've been to. And as you get closer to Mount Celestia, the mountain coming up out of the ocean, you realize that it is a mountain in truth. It's not a large island. I mean, it goes right from the water straight up steep cliffs. So Heart's Faith is not built on like a flatland in front of the mountain. It's actually built terraced into the cliff of the mountain. 3 terraces. And all of this is told to you in some detail by the sailors. So you will dock here in the dock areas. At high tide, this dock is completely flooded. The waters of Mount Celestia wash in to the first few blocks of this dock area. So all of this first terrace, which is called the Merchant's Tier, most of these shops and houses on the Merchant's Tier are built up on stilts, so the water doesn't flood them out.
Okay, Burkhardt, I know you yell at us about looking at chat, but in this case it's important because they say that they can't see Tabletop Simulator. They see a Google Chrome window.
Oh, that's not good. That's very not good. Yeah, they can still see the map of Heart's Faith, though. I know why that happened, too. I'm still learning my way around the new OBS. My apologies, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that I'm the very worst man.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to take a breath.
Oh, maybe
I want to know what's under rescues.
Don't know why that happened. Oh, I do. I think. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I know exactly why that happened, and it's because I'm the stupidest person alive. Anyway. You have a main road that runs from the dock all the way through the town up the mountain itself, called the Ascension. And this road passes through 3 gates: Traveler's Gate, Archon's Gate, and Petitioner's Gate. And each gate is the entrance to the next terrace up. The second terrace is called Citizen's Rest, and this is where most of the citizens of the town live. Most of the population here. The highest terrace up is called Lion's Pride. Lion's Pride, it's called that because the caretakers of Heart's Faith, they don't call themselves the rulers, they call themselves the caretakers, are a race of winged lions called Lammasu.
Yay.
On the terrace of Lion's Pride, you will find temples to every deity that holds its court on Mount Celestia. Notably for this group, that includes... I mean, I have a full list if anybody wants to go exploring, but most notably for this group would be
Amaterasu.
Bahamut, obviously, and Amaterasu, yes. And many, many others. The 6 largest temples, these would be the temples usually of gods of large pantheons, large and powerful pantheons. Moradin, the dwarven god of smithing. Yondala, the halfling goddess of protection. Jasirian is the feathered serpent, the god of the coatl. Paladine, called the dragon's lord. The largest temple in the city is the temple of Mitra, called the light of blessings. And Mitra is where the Lammasu caretakers hold their court. And the last temple, probably the largest in the city, is the Temple of Brihaspati. And I know that I butchered that name, but I don't care. But Brihaspati is the teacher of the gods, and his temple is a library in Heart's Faith. These temples mostly serve as pilgrims that come to Mount Celestia on a pilgrimage to their god's realm. So these temples provide a lot of services to those pilgrims. The Temple of Bahamut and Amaterasu are also here, but because they are lesser gods, the temples are not very large and they are not well trafficked. Kelian. You learn 2 pieces of information because the sailors aboard this vessel are very familiar with the Lucky Lion. The first thing you learn is that the Lucky Lion is owned and operated by a warden archon who is a bear man. Bear head, bear arms, a type of celestial that looks like a bear. But he walks on legs like a man. His name is Araquiel Downwalker. The second thing you learn is that he has a new vintage of wine that is phenomenal.
Okay.
And that's it. You all arrive at the docks.
This is the Lion's Pride?
It's called the Lucky Lion, and it's in the Merchant's Tier. It's
Lucky
up on...
Lion.
It's a tavern that's up on stilts down here near to the docks.
So what's our current objective here?
Trying to get to the 4th layer, which we think means going into Bahamut's temple and leaving some other way.
Got it. I think that's the 3rd layer, actually.
My notes say 4th.
It is indeed the 4th.
Oh, okay.
Cool. We get our player token around there.
Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't see him there. Or at the docks now.
And when you pull in, it's not high tide, so you don't have to wade through burning water, you chaotic types. Sounded like Kelian was about to say something.
Yeah. Can Kelian find crossbow bolts in the Merchant's Tier? Somewhere. Or is this going to be... Well... yeah.
Okay.
Kelian can find
So-
crossbow bolts.
Kelian's action is to go shopping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we get a large room with the line and meet up at, I would normally say night all, but Serenity just sort of looks up in the sky.
Yeah, I was about to just say, hey, what's everybody's nighttime action? And then after that is your nighttime action. What is Serenity's nighttime action?
Well, first I want to see, I mean, that's what she says. Should we get a large room, and that way we have a place to meet after we've all city a bit? Since Kelian is already, I'm assuming, leaving without telling us.
Well, this conversation happens before Kelian darts off in disgust.
Sounds fair.
Okay.
I'm
She'll
gonna
go to the
walk
inn
off.
to get the room.
Okay, so Serenity's going to the Lucky
The
Lion.
Lucky Lion.
I'll go with Serenity.
Which level was that on?
That is down here in the Merchant's Tier. And Elsie Clone's going with her. What is Riot's nighttime action?
What is Tyraman's Gate? What is this thing over here?
Tarmoon's Gate is the name of the road that runs through the Merchant's Tier. You got Tarmoon's Gate goes this direction, Glory's Way goes this direction.
Oh, I see. Okay. I'm gonna go see. Well, I'll head off to the Lucky Lion just to see if there's anything fast for entertainment there.
And Mahogany's also going there?
No, I'm going to go look for some wood to buy.
Gonna go look for some wood. Okay, so are you accompanying Kelian down to check the merchant's wares? You're going
I'm
off
just heading off to the merchant's corner.
being antisocial.
What does Kelian know about wood?
Well, he has at times been known to play, let's call it a courtesan.
I'd really like to see him try to do that here.
So,
He's going to end up married.
Kelian, you very easily find a Fletcher's shop. And he is ecstatic to see you. He asks, when you ask for crossbow bolts, he asks what you hunt.
The most dangerous game.
He nods approvingly. He's very interested in your repeating crossbow. Do you allow him to examine it?
Sure. That's why I have it.
And he goes over it, and he asks a lot of questions about how it works and what the mechanism does. He asks for a demonstration. He sets up a straw target, and he wants to know how quickly you can put 10 bolts in that target with this crossbow.
Kelian is screaming internally, but he dies.
Okay, I mean, he supplies you the bolts.
He
doesn't make you use his...
Sure. Sure.
Make-
But Kelian will... Yeah, I was going to say, what should I roll? Should I hit roll?
Make a dexterity check. Just straight dexterity, no skill.
Where's...
Plus dexterity is 14.
14. And you fire 10 bolts in rapid succession without the thing jamming. And at the end of it, the man is clapping, and he's very, very excited. He supplies you with 20 bolts free of charge.
Oh. No. Please let me pay for them.
I was waiting for that. And
Please.
he's very insistent. He says, I mean, you've introduced me to this fine piece of machinery. You've shown me this great weapon. I'm sure you're going to put my bolts to excellent use. It's the least I can do.
Waiting for the codec call from Cincinnati.
And what's his response when he's insistent?
Kelian lets out a very exasperated sigh. Oh. Takes the bolts. Immediately puts them in the case.
Okay.
Wait, where was that case made again?
The Abyss. And when you pull out the black bolt case, he's very inquisitive about that as well. He's never seen its like.
I did it on my travels.
Alright, so Kelian does not pay for the bolts.
Kelian thanks the man, exits this, and grits his teeth. He hates everything about this plane. But makes his way to the Lucky Lime.
Mahogany, you don't find anything in the way of like a carpentry shop. What you find is a man, a shirtless, big bearded man. Old, but very muscular, very toned. And he's got a plane that he's using to sand the bottom of a canoe that he's made. That's his trade, is he makes fishing canoes to go out in the waters. But he's working with the wood here.
And I asked him if where he gets his wood from.
And he says that the mountain is abundant with forests.
Do you have any extra logs that I could buy from you?
And he indicates a pile of scrap sitting just inside of this canvassed area where he has to protect himself from the rain. And he indicates this pile of scrap, and he very cheerfully implores you to help yourself.
Is there anything there that's of actual, like, good quality that I could use to make an instrument with?
Lots. They're just the pieces that he's whittled out of this canoe. So large, very oddly shaped pieces. And lots and lots of shavings.
I'll take the ones that I need, and I'll ask if he knows where I can find the Middlebob Company.
And he doesn't know that name.
In that case, I ask him if he knows any shippers. I'm looking for some way to get to Sigil.
So you ask him for a way to get to Sigil.
I ask him for someone who's willing to deliver the Sigil for me.
Okay. He stops what he's doing, sets his tool aside, wipes the sweat off his brow, and he beckons for you to follow him towards the docks.
All right, I'll come with him.
He points out at sea, and hovering maybe 100 yards offshore, just above the water. If you were in the water, you'd be able to reach up and touch it. A ball of glowing light that you would have missed through the drizzle and through the darkness until he pointed it out. This is the ball of light. That's the gate that leads back to, let me think, back to Excelsior. Excelsior, you know, is the gate town to Mount Celestia on the Outlands.
Right.
It says, find any merchant traveling through that gate. They'll be happy to deliver it for you.
All right. I'll thank him.
Okay.
And I'll go look for a merchant that's traveling through the gate.
Okay. Are you looking for somebody who will carry it back for free, or do you not care?
I mean, this plane seems full of people willing to do things for free, so I'm not going to be turning anyone down like Arlie in here.
Well, the difference is that a lot of merchants that come to this plane are not natives, which means they won't be lawful good, which means they won't do anything for free.
Oh, I mean, if someone needs to be paid, I'm going to reach into my solutions bag and borrow silver. And I'm going to shave some off.
Yeah, you find somebody who's willing to take it back for 5 gold pieces. They'll be headed back towards Excelsior in 2 days' time. They're happy to take your wood with you.
All right, I'll take out the bar of silver that we got back in the tower.
Okay, and it comes out of the bag.
All right, and I'll shave some off. Since I'm not going to get this exchanged for him, I'll give him about like 7 gold pieces worth.
Okay. And he's actually impressed as you're shaving the silver off. And he says, you know the ways of Mount Celestia pretty well, my friend.
And I'll say, I get by.
And he accepts your silver shavings. He does whatever it is merchants do. I'm sure there's a merchant cantrip to make sure that the metal is pure. Notably, though, he's not taking your word on faith. He does make sure it's real silver. And he accepted his payment. And he doesn't know the Middlebobs by name, but you're able to direct him to their shop.
That's fair enough, because Mahogany's not 100% silver, so...
The rest of you guys, the posse, y'all be headed to the Lucky Lion.
Yep.
As you're walking down the road towards the Lucky Lion, the people on the street who are very cheerful, happy to stop and converse, happy to leave you alone if you don't want to stop and converse, but where the crowds were kind of tight and jovial, they give you a wide berth as you're walking down the road towards the end of the block. And before you know it, 3 of these Lammasu land in the road in front of you. Mm-hmm. All 3 of them glaring at Riot.
Right ways. Hey.
One of them pads forth.
Oh, sorry.
Serenity does what?
Serenity will move to enter between the 2 of them and ask if there's a problem.
And without taking his eyes off of Riot, he responds, that depends on whether or not the devil spawn knows how to behave.
Tell you what. Well, you can hold myself personally responsible if she gets into trouble.
And looks over and looks a little bit impressed. Says, we can hold you to your word.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then he looks back at Riot. Says, know this. If you are seen in Heart's Faith without your chaperone, both of you will come before the justice of the Temple of Mitra.
I'm sorry, is there a law preventing people from going around the city if they don't have a chaperone?
She's talking specifically to Riot. She's not talking to Serenity.
And Serenity is standing between her and Riot. And when she
Yeah,
says that,
Riot-
that's
Riot-
exactly
Riot
what Serenity
kind
asks.
of kind of gently pushes Serenity away and says, "Excuse me, sirs," just trying to put on her sweetest voice. Am I illegal?
And the winged lion, the leader of the three, looks at Riot. And he responds, "Your kind is known to be troublesome and deceitful."
And Riot thinks about that and says, "My kind, but me personally, have you had any experience with me?
And
Have I done anyone wrong?
one
I've
of
only been
the
here for 10 minutes."
only been here 10 minutes. One of the other Lammasu kind of brashly replies, "Doesn't matter, you're all the same." And he gets a nod of approval from the other
Break your
two.
brain.
He says, "It doesn't matter, you're all the same." And he gets a nod of approval from the other two.
All of that.
My internet worked fine for 6 days, and now it's breaking up on me again.
Sounds like an important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to reset Mumble here, and maybe that was the issue.
It's not funny at all, but it's funny.
It's not funny, but it's funny.
All right, I reset Mumble. Did that help at all?
It's,
Yeah,
okay.
it seems
now
like
it
that.
is.
Great.
Okay. I was saying my internet worked fine for 6 days, and now I'm getting high pings again.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like there's a fine and like
Yeah, I
you'll be
wasn't
held,
sure.
you'll
No,
be
no,
held
this-
for 6 days, and it's like what? What's
No,
Yeah,
no,
that's what I
there's-
thought too.
There's no fine. One of the two wingmen, Lammasu, responds to Riot and says, "It doesn't matter. All of your kind is the same." And then he gets a nod of approval from the other two.
And I say, well then, I can't decide if I should live up or down to your expectations.
And he looks back at Ciclon, and then back to Riot, and says, "Do you agree to take on the masked man as your chaperone? He can vouch for you while you're in the city.
Sure.
And you understand that if you step outside of our laws, if you cause any mischief, that he will be the one to face the penalty?"
I would never do anything to get my dear friend Ciclon in trouble.
And they seem satisfied.
Ciclon tries best to no-sell that.
Where can I read more about your laws?
Riot's never caused any trouble for Ciclon before, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Where can I read more about your laws to ensure I don't break them?
And he says that you may present yourself at the Temple of Mitra. Then he looks
I'll
back
see you
at
there,
Elsie
and
Clone.
she looks around and says, "Tonight, I suppose."
Tonight, it's always tonight. He looks back at he looks back and forth between Elsie Clone and Serenity, and he asks, "How many of your number? Do you have any others?"
5.
5 of us.
One of them's a celestial.
And they seem very approving about that.
Wait till you meet the guy.
And then, continuing to address Elsie Clone and Serenity, he says, "If it please you, we can have lodgings arranged."
Not again.
He gives you directions to the Gretchen household. The Gretchens being a family that live here, or live up on Citizen's Rest, the next terrace up. Says that they have room enough for your entire number, free of charge, and they're told that the wife is a particularly good cook.
Well, that's very kind. I mean, if they're willing to, I mean, that's quite generous.
Ciclon,
Mhm.
you gain this flaw. I'm on the hook for any shit Riot gets up to.
All right, you got it.
And you continue
I'm
on.
on the hook for any shit Riot gets up to.
You arrive at the Lucky Lion, and it's a very small tavern. Like, it's a good thing that other lodgings were arranged for you because they don't have rooms to rent. It's a little tiny hole in the wall. Like, you know, going to like a Chipotle franchise, how they have the picture on the wall of the original Chipotle, and you're like, how the hell do they have a Chipotle that tiny anywhere? That's how you feel about this tavern walking in.
It's an amazing analogy.
Maybe it's what came immediately to mind. Because I always think that. I go to Chipotle, and it's the original Chipotle is in, I don't know, San Francisco or something. And it's like this little tiny corner and bar or whatever, like 8 people can fit inside. You're like, how do they serve burritos out of that? I don't get it. Don't understand.
You can serve burritos out of a truck. Out the back of a truck, dude. You can serve burritos anywhere.
Very, very cramped. This place looks like it might have seating for 20 people, and there are at least 30 in here. And you're shouldering your way in. 2 human women are feverishly but very cheerfully serving drinks, running around. There is a large clock on one wall that glows with magical light that's illuminating the room, that's counting down to the next meal. Meals are served here every 10 hours. And there's about 8 hours to go. There's no bar as such. You see the women periodically leave the common room to go in the back through a door, and they come back out with fresh drinks. And this is the scene that you all see as you approach.
Aside from the women, is there anyone else obviously running the place?
There's not. You don't see anybody else.
Okay.
But within 3 or 4 minutes, even though the place is so busy, at least one of the women makes time to come over, greet you all very warmly, and offer you beer.
When does Kelian arrive with the rest of them?
Not quite yet.
Quite yet? Alright.
Not quite yet.
You'll probably get there with me.
Alright.
So yeah, they come around and they offer you all beer, the 3 of you.
Serenity will take it. She asks some.
Okay?
Yeah, Ciclon had not a coin rubbed. Doesn't have 2 coins to rub together. Right now,
And-
so he's just gonna.
Oh, beer's free, no charge.
Oh,
Oh, I'll drink some. Until it burns me alive, I guess.
And kind of apologetically, she tells you there's nowhere to sit, but the wall's good for leaning against.
that's fine.
And it takes another 5 or 6 minutes before she comes back with 3 mugs of cold and frothy beer. Tastes like a very heavy dwarven stout.
Park up against the wall and look about. So
And I'll ask the bar lady.
Okay?
What does a fella do for entertainment around here?
And she tells you there's lots to do. She said... And she gives you a very quick answer because she has to get back. It's like she's pressing to get back to work. But
Right.
she rattles off the names of some of her favorite temples to pray at. Give me 1 second here. She's particularly fond of Cirolali. Cirolali is a halfling goddess of home and hearth.
Got it. And you just pray there, right?
Most every day when she can
Yes.
get around to it.
As a hobby?
She takes great joy in it. And then she apologizes. I'm so sorry, darling. I've got to get these drinks back. And she hustles
And
away.
Bright nods and waves her off.
So did the 3 of you do anything for about the next 10 or 15 minutes in this bar?
I just
Drink
drink
my
my
beer.
drink.
Not especially now.
Y'all drink your beer. So Mahogany and Kelian meet up on the road, coming up the road to the Lucky Lion, and that's the scene you find of these three standing just inside the door, leaning up against the wall, each with a half-empty mug of beer.
Is beer free?
Yeah.
The beer is free.
Ciclon that shrugs and nods. Yeah.
This is a fantastic plane.
Kelian, have some.
No.
Kelian, I'll
Riot,
get it for you.
Riot
Just give me
presses
a
what's
silver.
left of her mug into Kelian's hand.
Yeah. Choke down right backwash. That'd be great.
I'll take pity on Kelian, and I'll say, Kelian, I'll get you some for a silver.
Kelian will toss a silver to Mahogany and say, "Give me some of the wine."
I'll go get him some.
Okay. When they come back, I mean, Mahogany and Kelian are both offered a drink, and Kelian refuses. Does Mahogany accept? Mm-hmm. Bringing up the subject of the wine, she beams with happiness. And she talks about this great wine that they have. What are they calling it? They're calling it Giru's Finest. Unfortunately, the wine is not free. It's greatly, greatly expensive. And very apologetically, she informs Mahogany that the wine is 3 silver pieces for a glass.
Kelian
I'll say too rich
interjects.
for me, but Kelian might want some.
Kelian interjects, gives her a gold piece, and says, "One for me and my friends."
And she looks at the gold piece and holds up her hand and says, "I can't accept gold."
Please, I insist.
And again, she shakes her head, says it's simply not done. I know you all are from out of town. You don't know our ways.
Is there a money trader in town?
And she
I'm
replies,
not carrying any silver. I'm carrying some gold.
she replies, "None that will accept gold. I'm so sorry. I can talk to a Rockwheel and see if perhaps he can pour you a glass on the house."
Mom,
I'll
do you
take
still have
one.
that bar?
Kelian rummages in his pockets, pulls out 3 silvers, and goes,
And
"Mine."
Mahogany wants one on the house.
Yeah.
Okay. Does Mahogany actually, is he holding anything but gold?
I'm holding a large bar of silver.
You can just shave off. Well, if you're still holding the silver bar, then she doesn't offer you any for free because she sees you can pay.
Well, it's in my bag.
Okay. So, but you're trying to finagle. You're trying to cheat the lawful good barmaid out of a free glass of wine you know is
Actually,
worth
I
way
don't
more
even
than 3
know. I was
silver.
just going to give it to Kelian. I didn't realize he had 3 silver on him.
Okay. So Mahogany and
did I,
Kelian
actually,
are
but
both
he
having
does.
wine. So go ahead and subtract the silver. Mahogany, you can scrape
did.
off a little bit of silver from your bar. And the wine, like I described to Kelian, has this warming, soothing sensation after an initial burst of like painful heat on your tongue. And after you swallow it, you feel it settle in your stomach, and you feel you can just lay down for a while. And they're calling it Giru's Finest.
Serenity will have
Here's
another beer.
finest.
That look at watch the end and say, "Wow, you need a smoke after that."
Mahogany, best wine you've ever had, easily.
Nice.
So what's everybody's next nighttime action?
Riot says, "All right, Ciclon, where to? Whatever you want to do.
Well,
I guess I'm tied to you."
I guess I was actually. I don't really get an opportunity to do this but there's a Temple of Amaterasu up away. I'm kind of checking that out.
Sure, let's go.
Don't take communion.
So you guys are going to go up to Lion's Pride?
Yeah.
Okay. Riot.
Mhm.
At any point during the session, do you have designs on abandoning LC Clone?
No.
You're going to stick with him. You're going to be good. What's Serenity's next action?
The major ones you talked about, there's told us about, right?
What's that?
Your temples you had told us about. Well, that's what the others told us along the way.
They talked about the
Like
six.
the general knowledge target at this point.
Yes, the 6 major temples are general knowledge, and then there are countless smaller ones.
Serenity's gonna head to the Temple of Yolanda, as halflings have good food.
Okay. Actually, I think the ship was... Oh, the ship was Yatara's seneschal, not Yondala's seneschal. Okay.